Welcome back. In this session, we will be looking at how the Korean capital city developed in the Korean Empire period. In particular, we will look at how palace grounds were expanded, how the new sites that symbolized monarchical authority and Korean independence were constructed, and how commercial areas of Seoul developed. For 5 centuries, Seoul had been the capital city of Joseon. Despite numerous invasions and fires and the consequent damages, the city had been rebuilt and maintained throughout the 5-century lifespan of the dynasty. The Joseon capital had many names: Seoul, Hanyang, Hansong, Hansan, Wireseong, and Gyeongseong, to name a few. In the Joseon period, Hanyang, Hansong, and Gyeongseong were commonly used, but Japanese authorities officially set the name of the capital to Gyeongseong after the annexation of Korea in 1910. The 5 main palaces of Seoul, Gyeongbokgung Palace, Changdeokgung Palace, Changgyeonggung Palace, Deoksugung Palace, and Gyeonghigung Palace, were the fixed centers of the capital and represented monarchical power and authority. Gyeongbokgung Palace had originally served as a primary palace of the Joseon dynasty. After the assassination of Queen Min and Gojong's return from the Russian legation, Gyeongwon Palace became the new principal palace of the Korean Empire. For the public, Gojong's efforts to construct a new imperial city was more visible outside of palace grounds. One example was the Hwangodan altar, where Gojong conducted the heavenly ritual to proclaim the Korean Empire. Also referred to as Wongudan, the heavenly altar was constructed to reflect the significance of the ritual, and its circular and elevated design symbolized the monarch's role as messenger to the heavens and universe. Alongside the altar, a shrine was constructed to keep ancestral tablets. The main altar was destroyed in 1913 for the construction of the Joseon Railway Hotel, and only the shrine survives today. In addition to the Hwangodan altar, Gojong had new bridges constructed to expand and connect key landmarks. Honggyo Bridge was an elevated pedestrian bridge that connected the main imperial Gyeongwon Palace to Gyeonghigung Palace. The bridge was commissioned around 1898 and completed in 1902 for the 40th year of Gojong's reign, when major commemorative events were planned. The so-called Rainbow Bridge allowed Gojong to efficiently move from Gyeongwon Palace to Gyeonghigung Palace, where a grand military parade was to take place. Unfortunately, most commemorative events were postponed or cancelled due to the outbreak of cholera and Prince Yi-eun's contraction of smallpox. The bridge was eventually demolished toward occupation. Another bridge, Ungyo Bridge, was also constructed in Gyeongwon Palace, and it expanded palace grounds by connecting it to the Ujeongbu government complex that was built on the former site of the German consulate. The bridge leveled the pathway from the palace grounds to the complex that was situated upon a hill. This was achieved to maximize efficiency of governance by having the administrative offices nearby the main palace halls. Both Honggyo Bridge and Ungyo Bridge symbolically expanded palace grounds and the emperor's reach of the imperial city. Surviving remnants of Gojong's attempt to modernize and westernize palace grounds is the Jungmyeongjeon Hall, Dondokjeong Hall, and Seokjojeon Hall of Gyeongwon Palace. Dondokjeon Hall was constructed around 1902 to accommodate foreign guests as an audience hall. The 2-story brick building was of Western style and visually catered to Western modes of representation. It was decorated with Western furniture and was emblazoned with the Ihwamun that represented the new Korean Empire. Gojong and Sunjong were seen greeting the public from the terrace on the 2nd floor, a public appearance of the monarch that was unprecedented in the Joseon period. Commissioned in 1900, the stone hall, Seokjojeon, was completed in 1910, while a brick hall, Jungmyeongjeon, was constructed in 1901. Jungmyeongjeon Hall was originally built as a royal library, but was used as Gojong's chamber and reception hall after a fire in 1904. It was the first Western building constructed inside of palace grounds. Seokjejeon Hall was commissioned by Gojong to serve as both living quarters for the imperial family and as a place for state affairs. Both Western-style buildings show the hybrid use of space within palace buildings, where a single building is separated in its quarters according to their functions. In addition, Jeongkwan-han Pavilion, a small fusion Western-style pavilion, was constructed circa 1900. It has an octagonal roof adorned with the imperial Ihwamun motif and was initially used to store royal portraits. All of the above Western-style architecture seen during the Korean Empire period reveal the state's aspiration to display itself as a modern and westernized empire. At this time, survival required progress, which was equated with modernization. In turn, modernization was synonymous with westernization, and hence symbols, architecture, and visual culture in general became gradually westernized. The opening of ports led to a surge of Western imports. In addition to the import of Western commodities such as cigarettes, cotton, matches, and petrol, technology and infrastructure were commissioned to modernize the capital city. One of the first major modern infrastructure commissioned by the court was electricity lines. The first electric lamps were commissioned to Edison Electric Light Company and installed inside Gyeongbokgung Palace in 1887. The generation of electric lights in the palace was such a spectacle that several court ladies recorded their amazement after seeing the bright lights. Electric lines were gradually extended outside of the palace, and tram lines were commissioned to Hansung Electric Company, founded by Americans Henry Colbrand and Harry R. Bostwick. The company was given concessions for all major electrical works for the city. Trams first appeared in Seoul in 1899 and immediately became crowd-drawing spectacles of Seoul. Trams became so popular that tram lines were quickly extended throughout the city, eventually even reaching long-distance train lines. The first train lines were commissioned to Gyeongin Railway Company, a Japanese company, in 1899. It connected Jaemulpo to Noryangjin. The construction of nationwide railways drastically increased in the colonial period when the Government General's Railway Bureau took charge of constructing major railways that connected all of Korea. The implementation of these new technologies of modes of transport within and without the capital city was a major development that changed the lifestyle of Koreans. The cityscape of Seoul rapidly transformed from pre-modern to modern from this point. After the opening of ports and the signing of international treaties throughout the 1880s, foreigners were permitted to reside in the capital city. The largest population of foreign residents in Korea during the Korean Empire period consisted of Japanese, followed by the Chinese, and a relatively smaller number of Westerners. In particular, the Japanese population in Korea drastically increased after 1905. By this time, Japanese residents had already formed a Japanese community in several metropolitan cities, and in Seoul, the area of Chungmuro was heavily populated by the Japanese. One of the earliest and conspicuous changes to the cityscape of Seoul as a result of the influx of foreign populations was the construction of Western-style buildings that were used for legations and consulates. These buildings not only served a practical purpose, but also represented each nation and their presence in Korea. Churches, schools, and hospitals were constructed by Western missionaries. These institutions not only added to the new cityscape of Seoul, but also altered the way of life for Koreans in the capital. For instance, students who attended Baeje Hakdang, founded by Henry Appenzeller, or Iwa Hakdang, founded by Mary Scranton, would also attend the Cheongdong Jail Church, established by Appenzeller. Most of the students educated in these new modern institutions would also later become leaders in the reformist or modernization movements. Many individuals like Appenzeller or Scranton took on these roles in Korea to spread Christianity, or with the purpose of enlightenment, which dominated Western minds and particularly expansionism in the 19th century. By providing education, medical care, and religious services, Western individuals with ties to Korea greatly expanded their impact and influence in Korea. Other facilities such as hotels, restaurants, banks, and department stores were also constructed, especially around the Western legations and consulates, as well as the Namcheon area toward annexation. Western-style accommodations were established to accommodate foreign diplomats, businessmen, and travelers. Some early hotels include Sontak Hotel, established near Gyeongungung Palace circa 1896, and the Station Hotel near Seodaemun Station that was founded in 1901 by Englishman W.H. Emberley. The Sontak Hotel served coffee and was reserved for distinguished guests of the state, while the Station Hotel accommodated general travelers to Seoul. After annexation, Namcheon, the area inhabited and developed by Japanese residents, became the center of commerce and leisure in the colonial period. Seoul was gradually divided between the old Bukchon and the new and modern Namcheon. So far, we've looked at some changes made to Seoul's city grounds during the Korean Empire. In our next session, we will explore the creation and usage of a new imperial emblem.